Catharine Esther Beecher was born on September 6, 1800 in East Hampton, New York, to Lyman and Roxana Foote Beecher. The Beechers were a very prominent and wealthy family. Her father, Lyman, was a New England minister. Catharine was taught at home until the age of 10. At that time, she was sent to Sarah Pierce's Academy for Young Women in Litchfield, Connecticut. She was taught the limited curriculum for girls, so she taught herself the subjects not offered to her, such as Latin, math, and philosophy. Church and family were a very important part of Catharine's childhood. Roxana Beecher died in 1816 of tuberculosis, leaving Catharine in charge of the household and taking care of her 13 siblings. In May of 1823, along with her sister Mary, she opened a private school for young ladies in Hartford, Connecticut, called Hartford Female Seminary. Her mission was to find happiness in living to do good. The school was funded with the money she received from her fiancé's will after he died in a shipwreck. The curriculum there included rhetoric, logic, natural philosophy, chemistry, history, Latin, and algebra. Her sister Harriet, who later wrote Uncle Tom's Cabin, was a student at the school and later a teacher there. The school started with 4 students and had 100 enrolled 3 years later. Catharine taught at the school until 1831. The school was open for 60 years. In 1832, Lyman Beecher, Catharine's father, assumed the presidency of Lane Theological Seminary in Cincinnati, Ohio, and Catharine went along with him. She stated, "When I removed to Cincinnati, my health was such that it was hazardous for me to attempt any enterprise demanding continuous labor or responsibility. But I was immediately solicited to establish a school there of a higher order than any then existing." Catharine then founded the Western Female Institute. The financial crash of 1837 caused the school to close. Catharine believed that women should devote themselves to the moral development and education of their children and to their home, and women needed to be educated to accomplish that. She wrote many published works on this topic, including an 1841 book entitled A Treatise on Domestic Economy for the Use of Young Ladies at Home and at School. This was the first American work to deal with all facets of domestic life, according to Britannica Online. Mrs. Beecher thought women should be the teachers of children. It is to mothers and to teachers that the world is to look for the character which is to be enstamped on the succeeding generation, for it is to them that the great business of education is almost exclusively committed, and it will not appear by examination that neither mother nor teacher have ever been properly educated for their profession. Catharine raised the position of a teacher to a higher state and gave women a way to support themselves. After she returned east, she co-founded the Board of National Popular Education in 1847 with William Slade, where women were trained to be teachers during 4-week sessions in Connecticut and sent to teach out west. In 1852, she founded the American Women's Educational Association, and also she organized the Ladies' Society for Promoting Education in the West, which was instrumental in founding women's colleges in Burlington, Iowa, Quincy, Illinois, and Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Catharine Beecher is recognized as one of the early promoters of higher education for women. Beecher was also a strong supporter of physical education and even developed a program of calisthenics put to music. Even though she was an advocate of good health, she herself suffered from numerous nervous collapses and was a patient in more than a dozen sanitariums during her life. Beecher strongly supported allowing children to simply be children and not forcing adulthood on them too early. Children needed to be allowed to freely express themselves in an environment suitable for them. This is what led to her support of kindergartens. Catharine was not a supporter of the suffrage movement. In fact, she was against women being in politics. Their place was in the home and teaching children. While her siblings were activists, she was not. She even wrote a book against the movement, The True Remedy for the Wrongs of Women, and Women's Suffrage and Women's Profession. Mrs. Beecher spent the final years of her life lecturing and writing. On May 12, 1878, she died at the home of her brother Thomas in Elmira, New York, of a stroke she suffered after lecturing to women at Elmira College. The great want of our race is perfect educators to train newborn minds, who are infallible teachers of what is right and true. Catharine Beecher was a true pioneer in the field of education.